Hi everyone, my name is Scott Pusica. I'm a senior human resource management major from Prague, Nebraska, and this is my presentation on thinking like a leader. So first we're supposed to pick out three important ideas that we got from the book. First one I found was that when we allocate more time to what we do best, we devote less time to learning other things that are also important. I think this is very important because it's something that most people do not realize as often. Lots of people like to get comfortable with the norm and doing the same thing over and over, that they don't like to branch out and do new things. Now, personally, I think we need to be able to branch out and explore a little bit more with what we can do because with the more that we do, the better off we'll be as a leader. The second thing that I found was that if we leave things to chance and natural chemistry, then our network will be narcissistic and lazy. Now, I think our own network reflects the way that our work ethic is. We must learn to take control of the situations that we can in life because if we continue to be narcissistic and lazy about the people we be around, it'll also affect the people that we actually network with. This means that if we have a lazy attitude, if we're not acting up to the best that we can be, the people that we are constantly going to be surrounded with are going to be people with the same characteristics. And finally, the last idea I found was that our identity is not just about the past, but about the possibilities we envision in our future. Now, this is something that lots of people struggle with. They like to dwell on things in the past that can affect the way that we view our future. Now, the best way to do this and get better at it is to look ahead at the opportunities that we have in life. There's a lot of positivity ahead that we need to look at and not dwell on so much of that negativity or things that might just not have gone as well in the past. Now, one area that I had a little differing view in the book was how she said that many of the typical challenges of stepping up to leadership make the leader feel like they're fake. Some of the things that were mentioned were taking charge in a new role, selling their ideas, managing their higher ups, learning from negative feedback, and just working in a different culture. I really didn't believe in what she was saying. I understand where she was getting at, where she talked about people having to put on a different face with like going to different, like talking with different people from different cultures or different areas. But I feel like being a leader, you don't really feel fake. You're trying to sell your ideas. You're trying to convince people to believe in you. But I really don't think that you're putting on this fake persona. You're trying to be more relatable with everyone, but I essentially don't believe that you are becoming this fake person. And that's the one area where I just kind of had a little bit of differentiating view than what she had. Next, we kind of talk about the difference between chameleons and true selfers. So chameleons are just people that adapt to different circumstances very well. They're very relatable, can change within the situation, and they're often putting on different personas. And they also like to bond with the ideas of their followers. The other different one is the true selfer, and these people are more stuck with being comfortable with what they do and not changing things as much. They often stay true to themselves, and they're not as adaptable as chameleons can be, and they usually stick with their same familiar behaviors. Now, when it comes to an example of these, my example for being a chameleon is being a staff assistant for intramural sports. Being a staff assistant, I constantly am interacting with students left and right on UNL's campus. As many as 5,000 a year is what I think we've calculated it out to be. And as most people know, no two people are the same. And so this is something that I really take pride in being a chameleon. Some person might be from a different culture, some person might be a different race, just different beliefs. Other people dress differently. So you really have to be aware of the surroundings and the people that you're working with so that you can address different needs and be that adaptable person. Now, when it comes to being a true selfer, it was kind of hard for me to see something where I am a true selfer. But the one thing that really stuck out to me was my religion. I am Catholic, and I'm very strong with my beliefs within my own religion, and that's something where I'll talk to people and I can understand where they come from, and I'll listen to them. But ultimately, it's something that I will stay true to with myself. I'm not going to change my beliefs just because of something else. I'm very comfortable with what I've been doing. It's something that I've been raised with the entire life. So I'd say that's my most relatable thing to being a true selfer. Now, when it comes to talking about which one describes my own personality, I'd say I'm about 75% chameleon and maybe about 25% a true selfer. In lots of my jobs and personal experiences, I am constantly adapting to the people around me, and I feel like that's something that's very important, not just within being at college here at UNL, but in the entire world, the entire world is constantly changing. But you still have to have that side of being a true selver. You don't want to let go of things that you stay true to. You don't let go of those things that really you believe strongly in. So I think that's what I would classify myself as. And when it comes to leaders, I think that they need to be a chameleon in a sense, but not 100%. Again, kind of the way I describe myself, leaders very much need to be adaptable to the people that they're around, and the people, they need to listen to the people's views and all these other things, and you want to be able to get that adaptability, that different bond with the followers, but you still have to have your sense of sticking with your true beliefs, sticking with the things that you ultimately started with, so you don't look like you're faulty, so you're not changing. And that's where the author kind of came in with being a little fake. If you're not staying true to yourself just a little bit, that's where people will get that fake sense from you. Now, next, Ibarra described three different networks, and these three are operational, personal, and strategic networks. Now, a quick little overview of operational network. This is kind of just things that help manage manage current internal responsibilities. The personal network is mainly just boosting our personal development, and the most important one, I believe, is the strategic network. And this is what, when you focus on new business directions and stakeholders, you must persuade them to get on board with what you're doing. And this is very important because if you can't build a strategy to get people to follow you, to make them believe in what you want to do, you're ultimately going to fail at being a leader. And some of the challenges that come with the strategic network is that it requires a lot of time. This is not an easy objective to get people to believe in you as a leader. It also includes all types of people. You have to be very adaptable, and this is where your chameleon needs to come out a lot more. But the biggest thing that I really see being a struggle and a challenge is that there's so much uncertainty within the future of like things that can go on. You have no idea what's going to happen 1 week down the road, 1 month down the road, or a year down the road, anything further than that. So really, you can be putting in all this effort in all these different ways, um, bonding with your followers, being a great leader, but ultimately you have no control to understand exactly what's going to be in the future. You can control the way you talk to people, control the way situations go, but you never ultimately know what's going to happen in the future. And then when it comes to these challenges, we really just need to attack them as much as we can. If you want to be a leader, you're going to have to make time. You're going to have to be able to adapt to these people. You're going to have to take as much control over the situations you can that you possibly can. Now, the final question that we were supposed to answer was think of a leader that could look up to. And the one I really thought that would be kind of beneficial to what we learned in class would be my great great grandfather, Joseph Pusica. And I believe he's a leader because of the reason why he came to the United States originally. He was being drafted into the Czechoslovakian army, and I know lots of people that from around my community that eventually immigrated and migrated towards Prague, Nebraska, originally kind of came from that same thing where they were being drafted in the army, and they didn't want this for their families, so they pull their families out of Czechoslovakia at the time and find any ways to get to the United States. And so that's ultimately what my great great grandfather did. And some of the challenges that he overcame were just being an immigrant to the United States was definitely not easy at that time. You could tell many people were doing it, and it's just such an overcrowded place when people are coming to the States. And the other big thing that was really affecting them was communication barriers. He had no knowledge of English whatsoever. He was a straight Czech speaking man. The family was constantly Czech speaking. And obviously that changed with time, obviously being exposed to more English speaking people. But it just was something that was a very big hindering. And then also traveling to Nebraska from the East Coast is not an easy task when you have very limited money and a family to take care of. Now, the role that the networks played within this person's leadership, he had to make as many networks as he could because he's brand new to the States. He's brand new to this new country, and he had no idea what to do. Ultimately, I don't know why they settled within Nebraska, but everyone kind of grouped together and moved as one, as each of them kind of came to the States from the Czechoslovakia. And I believe ultimately that my great grandfather was a huge chameleon because coming to the United States, he did not have any power, any say in what he wanted. He was this young man, and he really did not stand out to people. And so I feel like he really had to be adaptable, really had to kind of blend in, go with the flow, go with what other people believed, so you could relate with people, and then maybe build these connections, build these networks that ultimately let people trust you and let people bring you in. And then slowly, once they kind of moved over, they probably started traveling more towards the Midwest. They probably got better with all these connections and networks, building them more, and they could slowly start being their true selfers again. Maybe bringing back their beliefs again from Czechoslovakia, because I know once they settled back in Prague, Nebraska, that they spoke Czech for at least, I think it was like 20 or 30 more years consistently. And I think that's just one thing that kind of shows like that their true self was coming back out. They did that. They brought back a lot of more of their beliefs and their cultural aspects. And so I believe that's something that would change the more that they kind of traveled to the Midwest from the East Coast. Um, Ultimately, all of this is very kind of great. I know about most of this is 75, 80% true. We've done some kind of ancestry stuff within my high school and when I was younger, but this is the best that I can believe to be. But I really think that this is a tremendous story of being a global, like a leader on a global stage, because he came from having very little and taking all their money and just taking a chance and leading his family, helping lead the people that settled within the community of Prague, and all of this. And I really believe that my great great grandfather Joseph Huska really was a great example of a leader. And so this is my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and good luck with everyone else's presentations.